So over just the past weekend, I hosted my first in-person mastermind event that some of you guys may have seen. I posted a video on it on my YouTube channel where over 15 mastermind members who I've been talking to, helping, seeing online over the past 3, 4, 5 months, finally got to meet them in person. And it was such a surreal feeling because everyone always talks about the mastermind events they go to and sort of like the networking events they go to. And what's crazy for me is I've been to none. I've barely traveled anywhere. I've moved to Austin, Texas, kind of part-time, I would say, just a couple months ago, as you guys have seen. And my first ever networking event or mastermind event was my own. So it was kind of cool because I've never been to one before. So I just hosted it off kind of just what I thought would be a good event. And it was such an awesome experience at 19 years old to host something like that. And in this video, I want to just talk about some of the things I talked about in there. If you watched that video, maybe you saw some clips of it, but just like the honest advice I'd give to myself when I was starting at 16 years old, because everyone has to start somewhere, right? And for me, it was public. Some of you guys saw me starting out. Some of you guys have been watching me for almost 3 years now, which is insane, just on this YouTube channel. But just some honest advice of things where I've gone wrong, and also things I think that needs to be reiterated in the back of people's heads, especially when they're starting, because I saw a lot of like younger Carsons or like the younger Carson energy at that event of people who are just starting out or already making, 5, 10, 20K a month, right? So the first thing I want to start with, which is something I talked about in there, and something I'm big on, people have started to know me for this. I've gone pretty viral on Instagram through a reel I posted about this, but it's setting what's called the life vision doc. And this is kind of like the first big lesson that I wish I did earlier. So I did this last year, and I publicly actually did this on this YouTube channel. So a year ago today or so, this would have been November of 2024, I was kind of in my like monk mode environment. So some of you guys know I moved out when I was 17 years old for a few months, just in isolation mode, got a lot of clarity, like lost a lot of weight, got a lot of stuff done. Like imagine 3 months I isolated myself and the only person I talked to was the front desk person at the grocery store for 3 straight months. It was like 2 or 3 straight months. And I've done this, I think 3 times now total. One earlier this year where that was what catapulted me massively. And then also twice last year, one being a year ago today. And that's when I stumbled across the whole life vision doc concept. And I didn't really know what it was. It was a mentor of mine, kind of 2 mentors of mine actually simultaneously told me to do this at the same time. One of them being a mentor of a guy some of you guys know, which is Iman Godzi. I've spoken with him a couple times before. And his mentor he had at the time when he was 17 years old all the way up to 20, 21 years old is the mentor I had last year and I still keep in contact with to today. Funny enough, I have a call with him tomorrow. And he gave me the concept of creating your life vision doc. So this is like your dream life and where you want to be. It's like goal setting, but not just financially, right? Because everyone has financial goals in life. But the thing you don't understand about making money when you don't have any is that there's actually more to life than money. Because I think every human's in a hamster wheel to the next thing. If you don't have money, you're trying to make money. And if you have money, you're chasing what you've lost in the pursuit to money. So this could be relationships. This could be family. This could be friends. This could be whatever it is, right? Experiences. Because a lot of the time on the chase to make all this money, you isolate everything else in the process. And I've tried to look at my life and like I would actually say I've kind of done that a little bit. Like I would admit that I've done that. But also it's because I said this at the mastermind event as well, is it's taken me 3 years to achieve what most entrepreneurs take them 10 to 15 years. And that's the truth, And that's not even like, I would just say mainly from a financial standpoint and also just like a building standpoint, going from 16 years old, no skills, nothing, overweight, working at a golf course to today, like that was very, very fast. And it was because I just put all my focus there. But the whole point kind of back to this life vision doc is you set what you want your life to look like over the next 1 year, 3 year, 5 year, 10 year, 15 years, right? That's kind of the way I did it. So it's like throughout all that time frame. And when you do that, you do what's called, you train your subconscious mind. And this is kind of where this sounds like this whole like internet online mindset guru talk, but like it's a genuine thing, right? Like if all you guys wrote down goals today for the next month on a piece of paper, subconsciously in the back of your head over the next month, you're thinking about those goals. You wrote it down. You know what you want. And it's the same thing with long-term goals. If you write down what you want, what your life to look like, all of this, your chances of achieving that are much, much higher because they were clear in your mind. When you don't have a goal, it's a dream, okay? So it's like, or if you don't have a plan, it's a dream. That's kind of the way I look at it. And when you create a goal, you create a plan, and then you act. Most people just dream. They have a dream of becoming a millionaire, but then they take the same actions that is the opposite of ever achieving that, and they wonder why they're not a millionaire. It's like, well, you had zero action or zero plan to ever get there. So I'll kind of explain this document, and then I'm going to go to the next thing. Write all these things down, 1 year, 3 year, 5 year, 10 year, 15 year, okay? And then write down, mine is 46 pages long, and write down what you want, okay? So financially, relationships, experiences, what do you want out of every single year, okay? And sometimes you have to take short-term losses or short-term trade-offs. So for me, for example, very short term, I am getting less experiences and less relationships with people because I am very focused on the pursuit of building businesses, making money, helping people, all these things that will take away from some of the time it takes me to maybe be in relationships or get a bunch of experiences. Not to say I can't do both, but I'm heavily focusing on one area, and I understand that. So you write down like pretty much the details of everything, and also you go down to the depths of like, what does the average day look like for you in 10 years? What clothes are you wearing? Where are you living? Who are you with? Like, what do you want your life to look like? And it's massively impactful, is my point. And it's helped me a lot. If you guys looked at my goals I set 1 year ago, pretty much today, on YouTube, okay? I didn't like explicitly say it because I think it's kind of personal, but it is exactly what it is today, okay? You guys look at my 2025 goals video that I posted earlier this year. I've achieved everything. I think every single thing on that document I've done. Okay, and I've surpassed all of them by like a mile. And that was because I knew where I was going. And I probably set my goals too low, but I guess I'm gonna have to set them pretty high in the next month and a half when I make my 2026 goals video. So that's the point. Create a goals, vision, life doc, okay? And again, it's not just finances or financially, it's everything. It massively will help you. Where I put, myself a year ago, 1 year, what was my 1 year goal exactly a year ago, is exactly where I am today and a little bit beyond. Like I was saying, me saying I'm going to host my first mastermind event, that happened. Okay. It's crazy how this stuff works, but it does. So yeah, the next big thing I want to talk about, just something back to my 16-year-old self, is ignore the opinions of others. And I know this is something that people struggle with a lot. Like when you're in school, like you hear opinions of others, maybe like they're judging you for doing certain things. For me, I talked about this at the mastermind event as well. But for me, I was in a class of a bunch of people I knew, of course, classmates at 16 years old. And I was overweight, wasn't confident, and I was posting YouTube videos of me trying to build my business and pretty much saying on YouTube, on this channel 3 years ago, I am unsuccessful. I've made no money and I've spent 6 months at this. How embarrassing do you think that is for me in an environment of a bunch of other people that probably see that? It's super embarrassing, right? But for me, that was the point because that was the pain I needed to continue, right? The pain was strong enough for me to continue because I was pretty much scared of I guess you could say the I don't even know how to describe it, the judgment of others saying, oh, look at him. He posted a month ago and he never posted again. Typical person that starts their online business. They go nowhere, right? That fear was strong enough and that pain was strong enough for me to continue to go. Every single month, I have not missed a month on this channel, and that's for a reason. It was public documentation and accountability. So my advice I'd give to you, or my advice I'd give to my 16-year-old self, which I did do this, is number one, don't quit, okay? Because it's very easy to quit. There's going to be times that you feel like you're going nowhere. You feel like the work that you're doing is going absolutely nowhere because the hardest thing about entrepreneurship and what I've seen is nothing's guaranteed, okay? You're putting in so many hours today to technically see zero result. When you work at a job, you get paid in proportion to how many hours you work, right? If it's $15, $20 an hour, every hour you work, you're compensated on that hour. As an entrepreneur, for your first 6 to 12 months, generally, most people are uncompensated ever. They make no money. And that kind of comes down to success is a lagging indicator. So the work you do today, it's not actually going to bear fruits until 2, 3, 4, 5 months from now. And where people go wrong is they think it's instant. So they put in a bunch of work today and they don't stay consistent and they wonder why they're not a millionaire because these expectations people give online and they quit. So figure out a pain that's strong enough for you and a why on why you want to do this in the first place. Why do you want to build a business in the first place? And this is something I should have asked myself earlier. But also figure out a way to pressure yourself. Build a pain inside of you to not quit. Okay? Because that's the reason people don't succeed and they go back to their generalized life that they had pre-planned for them, is they quit and they didn't have enough of a why to continue with it. And if you see the initial little bit of success, I'm telling all of you guys this from someone who spent my first 6 months with 0 results publicly, okay? The second you get that first ounce of success, it's a drug. You can't stop, okay? You're going to continue to go every single day. At least for me, I continued to go hard every single day until I made my first $1,000, $3,000, $10,000, $50,000, $100,000 month, okay? And I'm talking profit. So please understand, it's just a time game, and success is a lagging indicator. And don't quit, okay? That's a massive, massive thing people need to understand and grasp when they're starting. The next big thing is really focus, and this kind of comes back to what I was saying a tiny bit earlier, but like the judgment of others, maybe use that to fuel you, okay? A lot of people are worried about opinions of others. And when you realize none of this stuff really matters, we're all going to die one day, okay? And if you're going to die concerned about someone else and what their opinion was on you starting that business or something, then you shouldn't be an entrepreneur anyways, because the amount of judgment and the, things that come with it are far worse than someone judging you for starting a business, okay? So you need to take a deep, hard look at yourself and say, am I built for this? Because transparently, some are not, okay? Some people, and I understand them, and there's no hate to this, but some people can't go 3 months the only person they talk to is the front desk lady at the grocery store. It's extreme, okay? Not every entrepreneur goes that extreme, but that's also why it takes them 15 years to get to where it's taken me probably 3 years, right? It's a massive amount of risk, okay? It's a massive amount of risk into potentially not getting anywhere, okay? And some people aren't built for that, and I completely understand it. So figure out why you want this in the first place, because that will fuel you, okay? If you really want some like true advice, figure out your why and make sure your why is big enough, because at a certain point, your why isn't just $20K a month to provide for your family, live a nice life, and whatever. Because beyond that, what's the point? 20, 30K a month, you can live a baller lifestyle. 30K a month, I've done the math on this. I don't have any cars. I don't do any of that stuff. I invest all my money, but I live in a nice place, it's whatever, but I spend less than 15% of my income every month, 20% of my income every single month, and I invest the rest. On $30,000 a month, you could invest $10K a month into the S&P 500. You could spend $5,000 a month on a Ferrari or like a Lamborghini if that's what you wanted, or a super nice car. You could spend another $5,000 on rent or a mortgage, whatever. And then you have $10,000 for monthly expenses like grocery shopping, whatever, food, all this stuff. And you're still left with $10,000 in the markets and probably still left over cash. After $30,000 a month, why do you keep working? Okay? Like $30K a month was always the goal for me. It was even the goal this year for me. Okay? I was not making $30,000 a month personally, consistently in profit every single month in January of this year. I put it on my 2025 goals video. I said, I want to make consistently $30K a month. And that goal for me at the time was crazy extreme. Okay? I had some really good months last year, and also a lot of learning mistakes last year. Last year was one of those years where things were great. I was making money, but I made a lot of mistakes that also costed me a lot of money, and that really hurt my margins. Point in saying this is, beyond 30K a month, why do you keep doing it? Why do you want that next level? Because if that why isn't big enough, you will get complacent. You will get lazy. And that's something that I always try to reignite in myself today and figure out why I'm going harder every day, because at the money I'm making, it's not like I can never spend this much money unless I'm going on private jets all the time and absolutely being reckless with money, which I just hate doing anyways. I work so hard, I don't even like to see it leave like that. That's why I don't have a car. People judge me for this all the time. So the point in saying this is really figure out your why. Why are you in this game? Why do you want to take a bunch of risk as someone who might want to go a path that's super less traveled as an entrepreneur, and figure out eventually why even work past 30K a month? Okay. There genuinely needs to be a bigger why, or you will get complacent, lazy, and you're going to fall. I see it all the time. I've seen so many people get to that mark and they get to like 30, 40K a month profit. They do super well for a couple months. Boom, back down, because they got complacent. They got lazy. They started spending all their money, being reckless with it, and they feel like money is going to come to them forever. And that's a huge thing I disagree with people on. It's not to say you can't make more money in the future, but people have this notion that if you make $50,000 in 1 month, that you're always going to make $50,000 a month. Not true. Okay? Business is up and down, right? You guys look at me like I'm some massive success story. Like, I'm just saying this because if I was 16 years old, I probably would look at this and be like, this guy's already made it or something. It's furthest from the truth, you know? Like, I'm still a regular person that just deals with a bunch of stress all day, you know? But it's how I feel that stress that it really is what's important. And that's why I'm at where I'm at. So just build a why for yourself and realize the money that you're making now, sometimes it's not forever. Sometimes you're going to make a lot less. Sometimes you're going to have months where you go in the red, you know? No entrepreneur online is going to tell you that, right? Because they're trying to sell you into something, some dream. And maybe I've even done a bad job transparently of doing that on this channel, of selling a crazy dream to people. But like, I want to set the record straight and just say, if you sign up for this path, it's going to be hard and it's going to take you a lot of time. And a lot of people won't be willing to say that, right? Because that might hurt their YouTube channel or that might hurt their sales, whatever it is. I'm straight honest because I'm a testament to this, right? What do you think 2 years was for me? Just hardship and like really just pushing forward every single day without a real clear result. You know, I had results, but it was like, was it worth the time? Like, out of the first year and a half of me working on as an entrepreneur, if I worked minimum wage for all the amount of hours I put in, I would have made more money working minimum wage at the end of that first year and a half compared to what I did in the business, you know? And that was with me making like 10K a month at the end. But it was because I was literally for so many months stagnant. So when you make some money, be smart with it, okay? That's a big thing as well. And that's kind of where I want to end off my last lesson in this video. Be smart about your money. I don't know why, you know, like certain people get in the game for certain reasons. Some people, and it all stems from their background. I come from a family that we were never poor, okay? Like, very transparently. My family has done, my parents did an amazing job and they've done well for themselves, okay? Are they mega rich? Of course, no, they're not, right? But they've done well for themselves. And I saw how wealthy people in my area were because I went to a school for a couple of years where everyone was extremely wealthy. And I saw how they acted. They didn't have Lamborghinis. They didn't have Ferraris. Or if they did, it was sitting in a garage. And they were worth a lot of money. A lot of money, okay? And they were smart with it. That's why. You know, they didn't get into the game to go impress other people and they just went broke doing that. No. You know, they had super long-term visions. And that was something I learned at a very young age. And maybe I got to be this guy on YouTube in this whole industry that's like the invest your money type of guy, right? Like, I don't want to become a Graham Stephan. I don't think, like, I'm a lot more risky than Graham Stephan, especially in investments. But like, I don't know. You know, I feel like the whole, you know, cars, Miami, you know, crazy diamond watches and stuff. And I have watches too, but like, you know, that's it. That's all I have, right? Which holds value and I wear them and then I invest the rest of my money. So be smart about your money because the money you make now, sometimes it's not forever. And you're going to go through hard periods and you need to be prepared for it. You need to expect it. Because if it was only this, if it was only up, you know, there was no down periods, then everyone would be billionaires. Okay, but that's not the case. So guys, that's my quick advice I would give to someone who is starting at my age, you know, who's starting at 16 years old, who maybe even starting at 22 years old, 25 years old, 30 years old. All these things I think are applicable. And it's just how you use it, right? There's going to be a lot of people who watch a video, even to the end of this video like this. They listen to it and they go to the next self-help video or whatever video. It's not the videos that's going to change it for you. It's the way you act after watching it and the action you take with the information you've been given. And that's a big differentiator I've seen through successful people and lazy people and unsuccessful people is how quickly they implement action into what they hear and they consume. So if this resonated with you, I hope it did. And, you know, you could drop a comment or give me some feedback if you disagree with me. I'd love to let me know. Or if you agree with me, you know, I'd love to hear that as well. And that being said, guys, that's it for today's video. I've got some more pretty banger videos coming soon, talking more about just a bunch of different things. I've been doing a lot of stuff in the background I have not showed you guys yet, but it'll be apparent. And I guarantee you, I think my name will, it's going to be a takeover for sure next year. Okay. January and onwards. So, and this year has already been crazy. So I think I was at like 2,000 subscribers January. So 30,000 or something, which is crazy. So thank you guys for watching this video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Like, subscribe, and comment on what you think of this. And I'll see you guys inside the next video. Peace.